Welcome to the Pelican Sports Corner. We got a great show for today. We're going to be talking about how the Pelicans are on the losing streak. We're also going to be talking about how the Pelicans need to find the right head coach so that they can lead this team to greatness. We are going to be discussing the top 5 coaches that could potentially land in New Orleans. And we're also going to be talking about which ones are the best fit. We got a lot more of that on the Pelican Sports Corner.
No lights up, Pelicans fly high from the Crescent City. Watch us touch the sky. Zion in the paint, thunder when it ride. Poodle with the splash, got that fire in his eye. Trey Murphy from deep, let it rain, let it pour. Urban Jose locking down every floor. New blood coming, Fizz, TV, Queen. Pelicans United, we chasing that dream. Big Z breaking rim, crowd going wild. Power in the lane, got defenders in denial. Hulu with the handles, crossing up the scene. Buckets from the arc, keep the scoreboard clean. Trade with the wingspan, shooting with the breeze. Catching alley oops, bring opponents to their knees. Herb John clamps, never giving up an inch. Jose with the steel, crowd jumping out the bench. Throw the lights up, Pelican fly high from the Crescent City.
Hey, y'all tell me, is Brucey B going anywhere? Hell no. Hell no. Hell no. Hey, we running this shit back. We running this shit back. Hell yeah. Come on. Get high.
He has such a sense of loyalty, his family first. But to the Bucks in the city of Milwaukee, he's talked about everyone has a different path to a title. I'm not judging anyone, but for me, I want to do it with the team that took a chance on me, a city that welcomed me, and with teammates that I went through the highs and lows with. I feel like it just means more. These two teammates, long years together, are NBA champions together.
Welcome in, Pelicans fans. You already know what it is. If you're not subscribed, please subscribe. If you are subscribed, hit that like button. If you're not subscribed, also hit that like button, man. But as always, man, let's just dive right in. The Pelicans seems to be on a nice little losing streak right now. They're getting beat by teams like Phoenix. They're getting beat by teams like New York, man. And although they're playing really good offensive basketball, man, their problem seems to be defense. They cannot stop anybody, and you're going to get beat a lot of times when you cannot stop anybody. Granted, they're playing phenomenal offensively, but as a team, you have to start stopping people. It cannot be a shootout every single night on a basketball court. It can't even be a shootout every night in the playoffs. You have to learn to get stops. You just have to, especially as a young team. You got to learn to play defense. If you don't play defense, you will get beat. That's just what it is. The offense, yes, you scoring 130, 140 points, breaking records, doing all of these things. But if you're giving up 150, it really doesn't matter. You're just a great offensive team that can't stop a nosebleed. You have to stop people. It is taxing on a body to constantly trying to shoot at an elite clip night in and night out. Sometimes you got to win ugly. Sometimes you got to win in the shootout. But you cannot consistently win one type of way over and over and over. Sometimes you just got to clamp down and shut people down. And I get you want to play small ball, but small ball is not really a thing too much. Like, guys have bigs now. The good teams in the league has bigs now, and a lot of them. We got to start playing these bigs, and we got to start putting them in rotation. We got to start playing them. Like, it's time. Or get rid of them and find you one that you can play. Like, all of this small ball, it's cool, but it's not sustainable. But I'm not going to harp on that. The Pelicans been on a skid before. They only have 8 wins, so it's not like they're world beaters anyway. So I want to talk to you guys about something that a guy on YouTube brought up to me. And we've been talking back and forth, and I wanted to make it clear that he inspired this episode because he wanted to know what are some coaching candidates. And, that made me go deep in my bag and research who who would be some great coaching candidates for the New Orleans Pelicans for the 2026 upcoming season? Who should be some candidates that the Pelicans are looking into, that they're researching, that they're trying to look to interview? And I came up with 5 names that I think the Pelicans could potentially land, that I think not only are deserving, but I think makes the most sense. Now, there could be some young guys that's in the college ranks. There could be some assistants I never really heard about. I'm sure it should be a long, extensive process. But when it comes to the Pelicans, let's just round it out. The number one coach, I think the top dog, the best fit for the Pelicans is Mike Malone. He's the number one coach I think the Pelicans should go after. Why Mike Malone? Mike Malone has a 510 win, 394 loss record. He is a NBA champion. He played with someone who is so similar to Zion, and he knows how to build it around him. He knows what it looks like. So Jokic and Derek Queen, although they're active defensively, they're not great defenders. So in order for you to build a team around them, you got to have guys who can shoot the three to keep up with the teams that shoot the three. You also got to have guys who plays defense, who gets after it defensively. So constructing a team around Derek Queen and Jeremiah Fears will be pivotal, will be crucial. You know what I'm saying? So that means you're going to have to acquire some pieces. That means you're going to get rid of some pieces. That means you're going to have to build the team around them. But the main thing is the main thing. Building around Jeremiah Fears and Derek Queen, I think Mike Malone can do this. Malone, had a bunch of winning seasons until he finally broke through as a champion. Now, where he fell out at, I'm not so sure. Maybe the teams was tired of him. Maybe, I don't know. I don't know what him and Jokic deal was. But he's a proven winner. And also, he was a Pelicans assistant from 2010 and 2011. That was a nugget I didn't know. So the guy was already in the building. So he has a lot of familiarity when it comes to the Pelicans organization. He also has ties there. So this is interesting when it comes to Mike Malone, because man, the Pelicans just need a leader. They need a guy who understands not only offensive basketball, but defensive basketball. Joe Dumars made it clear it will start on the defensive end. Right now, the Pelicans don't have a defense. They have a superb offense, but they do not have a defense. And they have a lot of pieces that just mumble jumble. Sadiq Bey, DeJounte Murray, Yves Missi, Kevon Looney, a lot of contracts, Jordan Poole. These are big contracts that you got to figure out what you're going to do with in order to construct this roster in a way to where you can actually be a potential perennial playoff contender. The only way to do that, though, is you have to construct the identity where the system is so good that you can literally just drop guys in, almost like Golden State, Miami, Milwaukee, Denver, teams like that. So I think Mike Malone should be the favorite. I think it all depends on what Joe Dumars wants. Maybe Joe Dumars got some guys in mind, but I think it's clear with Chocolate Jokic, Mike Malone should be the favorite. I mean, he has constructed a team around a guy with a similar skill set. Not the exact same, but very similar skill set as Derek Queen. So Mike Malone would be my favorite. Coming in at number two, Mike Budenholzer. Why Mike Budenholzer? For the same reason Mike Malone. He has a 520 win record and a 363 loss record. He's a proven winner. He is a champion too. He won it with Giannis. Giannis and Derek Queen does have similar skill sets, but if they decide to keep Zion, they have similar skill sets. Just that bully ball downhill, you know what I'm saying? That type of thing. So again, another guy who knows what it looks like. Another guy who knows how to build a defensive team, who also knows how to use his centers. Like, that is very attractive because the Pelicans do not know how to use their centers. they almost, James Borrego almost used his centers like sparingly, like they just not even a position on the field. And that's where he can unlock so much more when it comes to this team. No matter if it's Eve, Misi, Carlo, doesn't matter who it is. You can unlock so much more when you have a center. You can actually rebound the ball, something that the Pelicans are struggling with if you use your centers correctly. And he's not doing that. That's why he's consistently giving up a ton of points. Also, Budenholzer stint in Milwaukee was another successful one. He's a champion. You know, he knows what it looks like. He knows how to build players around. Also fell out of grace in Milwaukee. I get it. The standard is the standard. They have high expectations. They want to win all the time. It's a cutthroat league in the NBA. So the standard has to be met all the time. Well, Milwaukee hasn't been winning too much since he left. So, I mean, they really didn't just accomplish anything by getting rid of him. It's hard to find really great coaches. And I consider Budenholzer and Mike Malone great coaches. But I think he will be the best option too when it comes to running up, when it comes to building a team, when it comes to holding people accountable, when it comes to constructing the roster, working with Joe Dumars and Troy Weaver, finding the right players around Derek Queen and Jeremiah Fears, Trey Murphy, guys like that, deciding what trades to make, you know, deciding how to construct this roster to be competitive. The only knock would be he probably hasn't played the West, but I don't think that will make any sense, you know, because Mike Malone, he's basically been dominating in the West. Budenholzer in the East, but of course you have to play West teams, so I don't think that's relevant. I do think the West is a different beast, but I think he can handle it. A champion is a champion. You have to beat the West to be the champion anyway, so I think Budenholzer would be my pick too. Pelicans just got to get an adult in a room. And both of these guys, and Budenholzer and Mike Malone, are adults. They command respect, they demand respect, and they hold you accountable. It's not going to be no babying. It's not going to be no favoritism. It's not going to be none of that. You either get with the program or you get out of the program. That's why these two should be the favorite. Accountability is everything when it comes to the New Orleans Pelicans. None of this friends with play, none of that. Get on the court and produce and make yourself some money, young man. Get on the court and produce and get paid, players. Get on the court and produce and win championships. That should be the only thing the players should be worried about while having fun doing it. And that's the accountability that Malone and Budenholzer brings. So I think it will be, I'm sure they have to get into like a bidding war for him. I'm sure they have to make that decision quickly, because there's a lot of teams that need good coaches, man. So they're going to be competing with a lot of teams, man. They really are, you know. So that will be my runner-up when it comes to Mike Malone. So these next three guys are guys who doesn't have any wins, any losses, but they're hot candidates. They've seen a lot of winning. They've been under a lot of coaches that win. Also, I think they have the pedigree, and I also think they have the respect of people around the league to be a next head coach. My number 3 head coach is a guy who paid his dues. He'd have been in many coaching cycles. I think he's ready to be a rock star head coach. I just think he probably doesn't interview as well. I'm not sure. I can't say that, but it just seems like it based on how many coaching cycles he has been in. It's been a lot of heartbreak when it comes to him being the next coach. He's been a hot name for a long time, and that would be Sam Cassell, currently the assistant coach of Boston Celtics of the Boston Celtics. He has been top assistant coach for a long time in a lot of different stints, you know. And I think Sam Cassell is ready. He was a 15-year NBA player, and he's now a 16-year NBA assistant coach. I think he have the knowledge, the experience, and been on some great teams as a player and coach to know what it looks like, know how to build it, to command the respect of the guys, being that he played and coached in the NBA, but also did it at a high enough level that there's some merit to the things that he say on the court. I think Sam Cassell can be a rock star head coach for somebody. I know he's hungry because he's constantly getting told no. I know he's ready to play. I know he's going to hold guys accountable. And hopefully he can bring in some assistants to build it the right way. So Sam Cassell would be a guy that I will be looking at as a hot name, potentially getting an interview to possibly lead this new Pelicans team to different heights than Willie Green led them. I think he would be a slam dunk head coach. I don't think it'll be that far off of something that Joe Dumars would do. I'm pretty sure Joe Dumars know him. There's some familiarity there. I keep messing up that word, man. It's killing me this morning. It will be guys who been knowing each other a very long time. So I know that he will get the proper due. Hopefully it's his time this coaching cycle, because it's been a minute for Sam Cassell, man. And eventually, if you keep getting passed on, you probably won't get the stint anyway. But I think his time is up now. I think this is the year he lands something. Could be with the Pelicans. If they don't want to go to Mike Malone route, if they don't want to go to Budenholzer, if they want to just this fresh prospect to mold themselves the same way they did Willie Green. But hopefully he's more diverse. Hopefully he's more receptive to assistant coaches' advice. Hopefully he brings in assistant coaches that can help him along the way, that can actually help, and he's actually taking their advice, who can develop players. So there's a lot when it comes to hiring a guy who's haven't had no skin in the game as far as actual coaching experience, not assistant coaches, but actually game by game, play by play on the court coaching. Now, that remains to be seen, but I think Sam Cassell will be a rock star hire for the New Orleans Pelicans. Coming up next, we got Chris Quinn, the assistant coach of the Miami Heat, who is also a hot name, who's been in a few coaching cycles, who I think the difference between him and Sam Cassell, Eric Spoelstra runs a tight ship. It's accountability, no matter what your ability is. It's accountability all the time. They don't deal with BS. And from around league circles and from around the information that I gather, Chris Quinn is a zero tolerance, hold you accountable, do your job type of guy. Now, I'm sure he has his leeway with his players, and I'm sure he's a player coach, but he makes sure the job is done and the job is done right, and people are respecting that. You don't always have to be a player's coach. Sometimes you got to have your team disciplined enough to understand what's going on in the moment, late in games. You know what I'm saying? Situational basketball. So he can be a great hire just on holding people accountable. How he constructs the team. Well, they have Bam, and Bam is a really good player, and they do play a lot of small ball too. So I'm not saying he wouldn't be the worst cause. Maybe he do play some center. I'm not with the small ball things anymore. There's too many centers dominating today to where small ball is, like you look at the Pelicans last night, Karl-Anthony Towns. There's a lot of centers that can move up and down the court. Carlo can do that, but for some reason, he's in the James Borrego doghouse. But that's on his coaching though. That the amount of time you keep Carlo on the bench when he can unlock so much for you, you're just proving more and more and more why you shouldn't be the head coach. Like not using your centers. You got a guy like Karl-Anthony Towns who had the same similar skill set as Carlo, is just more polished, but also at the same time, he's been in the league longer. But Carlo can match up nicely with him and can go tit for tat with Karl-Anthony Towns if you need him to. But he's also a willing defensive player. He's not a dominant defensive player, but in order to be dominant, you have to get reps. You have to see it. You have to understand the physicality. But if you're riding a guy on a bench the same way with Eve Messi, it's not going to work. Eve ain't going to give you nothing but 4 to 6 points. Carlo could give you 15 to 20 if you're using him right. They're going to watch Zion and Derek Queen. That's why Carlo is the wild card, because he has the athleticism to move around, to shoot corner threes. But you got to be able to unlock that as a coach. You have to. It's simple. It's not hard. This is a simple gateway to getting easy buckets while also getting a defensive rebounder, a guy who will box out, a willing defensive stalwart that's going to block shots, that's going to fight for rebounds, that's going to contest, because the Pelicans have a contest problem. They really just let people give up. Like they play defense like a fifth grade team. Just put a hand in his face. Sometimes that's not enough. I get it. The rules when it comes to getting fouls are really, really, really soft, but you got to let a person know you come in this paint. You're going to feel me. And the Pelicans have not been doing that to teams. So that's why they're giving up the type of points that they are. So Chris Quinn, I think, will be a good guy when it comes to accountability. I would love to see how he will be X's and O's. Why? I'm sure he's a pretty smart guy, but he will be another candidate, one of these young up-and-coming candidates that the Pels can give a chance to go in a whole nother direction and a whole nother system. We'll see once again. I'm sure there's more candidates, but this is just my top 5 when it comes to potential head coaching candidates. Last but not least, and I'm not going to say my favorite, but I'm not going to say he's my least favorite either. Phoenix Suns assistant coach Kevin Young, who's now the head coach at BYU. You're asking me, why is this guy on your list? Not only is he respected, but if you watch the Pelicans Sports Corner, you know there's a guy in Phoenix that I think with Jeremiah Fierce and Derek Queen and Trey Murphy will set this league on fire if you found a way to acquire. That guy is Devin Booker. Well, guess what? Not only did Devin Booker endorse Kevin Young as the next head coach of the Phoenix Suns, even though he didn't get it, they're really tight. And if you got your set on bringing a superstar to guide Trey Murphy and Derek Queen and Jeremiah Fierce, guess what? Devin Booker ain't a bad way to start. He's on a similar timeline of the guys. He's also young enough to guide it for the next 5 years. The question is, what do you give up? And if Book is willing to come to the Pelicans. He's the only player that makes the most sense for the Pelicans when it comes to an actual trade, when it comes to actually changing the way teams look at the Pelicans. There's not many guys you can acquire with Devin Booker's skill set. There's not many guys you can acquire that can play like Devin Booker and be young and be willing to lead a team like the New Orleans Pelicans. I'm not saying Kevin Young is the best coach out of these guys. I'm just saying he has the potential to change the outlook on your franchise if him and Joe Dumars can some way miraculously basically pry Devin Booker from Phoenix. Now, knowing Book likes the West Coast from all intents and purposes. He likes the West Coast. But if you can get a guy he's familiar with, which his father is from Mississippi, if you can get a guy he's familiar with. Now, I know this is big game hunting, and the Pelicans have no business big game hunting. But man, all the bad contracts that the Pelicans got, if they can land a guy like Devin Booker in a trade for a guy like DeJounte Murray, you get a guy like DeJounte Murray, you get a guy like potentially Zion, you get a guy like who else? Eve Messi, another young guy on a contract to give them like some building blocks. Man, look, Devin Booker, Trey Murphy, Jeremiah Fierce, and Derek Queen is a nightmare on a night-to-night basis. A night-to-night basis. This is a team that will be competing in the West for 5 to 6 years, folks. Now, again, I'm not sure Devin Booker want to do anything dealing with the South. West Coast might be his only option. The Lakers. He's a legacy guy. He wants to, Kobe is one of his favorite players, things of that nature. But if he ever want to submit and stamp his legacy somewhere where he potentially grew up, close to Louisiana, where his family's at in Mississippi, Listen, there's no better place to do it than the Smoothie King Center and what they're building. And if they can land, if Joe Dumars can do what he did in the draft by landing Derek Queen and Jeremiah Fears, by landing the Phoenix Suns Devin Booker, it's going to be an absolute show in a blender. It is going to be. Tickets will be sold. Listen, it's just going to be a show, a circus. It's going to be a absolutely buck jumping, second lining type of thing. It's going to be exactly what the Superdomes is when the Saints play. So Kevin Young, again, one of these guys who's respected, but don't really have no NBA coaching experience. Yes, he's the head coach at BYU right now. But as far as NBA coaching chops, when it comes to being an actual head coach, no, they don't have this experience. But I think they will be the best three candidates. Kevin Young from BYU and a former assistant under Monty Williams with the Suns, I think, may be probably the least favorite. But I think the potential to bring a superstar, not an all-star, a superstar to the Pelicans organization is so intriguing that I wouldn't be mad at it. I wouldn't be mad at it. Players don't stamp coaches. But for him to stamp Kevin Young, let me tell you something. That bodes well. That bodes well. Now, is it going to happen? I know. I'm probably dreaming. But why not? Why not us? I've been saying it from the start of the season. Why not us? We don't have to. It's rare that you can get a superstar player and have draft picks that's up and coming. And I know what you're thinking, man, they're gonna want a Derek Queen. They can want what they want. We still got that Milwaukee pick. So if you have to give them Zion Murray, Messi, and that Milwaukee pick, then god damn it, that's just what you have to do. Like, F them picks. Build a contender. Build a team. Build a winner. Build something sustainable. Picks are gonna come back. Players don't. So, as you can see with the Derek Queen trade, you don't know until you know. But you know Devin Booker. You saw what he did you 2 nights in a row. So, you saw the friskiness. You saw the competitiveness. You saw how he led his young guys. They had no business beating the Pelicans 2 nights in a row. Because the Pelicans are a more talented team. But what superstars do is will their teams to win. That's why Kevin Young is an attractive option. But, like I said, man, I'm just here to give y'all the information and let y'all do what y'all do with it. You know, these are my top 5 coaching candidates. These are the top guys I think can lead the Pelicans to where they need to be. Western Conference Finals, playoff wins on a year-to-year basis. And these are the guys that if I'm the Pelicans and I'm Joe Dumars and Troy Weaver, these are the top guys that I'm interviewing to change this franchise to where it needs to be. Because it needs to be a place where accountability lives. It hasn't been that for a very long time. And I know Joe Dumars is that. He's communicative. He talks. So when it comes to the New Orleans Pelicans, these are the guys. And as always, man, thank you for watching the Pelican Sports Corner. Make sure you hit that like button. And I hope y'all have a good day.